Hello everybody, this is the grade 10 theory lesson. This is unit 3A. This is our first theory lesson. And today's topic is minor tonality. So I have the guide in front of me here, and it's a paper copy, so I'm just going to be doing examples, old school pencil and paper, but certainly when you're doing your theory, as mentioned before, you can do it, importing the PDFs into Notability and editing the documents that way, or you can recreate some of these questions into MuScore or flat if you like. So today we're going to talk again minor tonality, and we're going to start with the minor circle of fifths. So you may recall in grade 9 we did the major circle of fifths, and I'll just actually draw those at the top of our guide here. So major circle of fifths, and remember we had C at the top and Father Charles here, put a little line, goes down and ends battle. Oh, let me just move this over here a little bit. And we remember too that C was at the top, it's going to get a 0, and that's to indicate that the key of C major is going to have no sharps and it's going to have no flats. And then as we move our way clockwise, we're going to be adding a sharp. So G major is going to get 1 sharp, D major is going to get 2 sharps, A major 3 sharps, E major 4, B major 5. We've crossed this line, so now this becomes an F sharp major, and that's going to get 6 sharps, and then C sharp in brackets here. I know this is tiny, but corresponds with the number of sharps. So C sharp major is going to have 7 sharps, C major 0 sharps. And the important thing to remember with this circle of fifths is that we're moving in a clockwise direction, and that's for sharps. We can use a similar diagram for flats. The difference this time is that we're going to be moving in a counterclockwise direction. So F major is going to get 1 flat, and we also need to make sure we're distinguishing B flat major, A flat major, A flat major, G flat, and C flat again with the 7 flat. So F major 1, B flat 2. We've crossed that line again, so B flat major is going to have 2, E flat's 3 flats, A flat major 4, D flat major 5, G flat major 6, C flat major 7 flats. Okay, so again, this is from last year. The same concepts, we're going to apply them again this year, but just as a quick review how the circle of fifths works. For minor tonalities, we can use major key signatures can be found by using the same circle of fifths as we used up here, but we're going to manipulate them a little bit. To do this, we're going to take the circle of fifths that were used for major keys, and we're going to adjust the letters counterclockwise until the letter A. So down here you can see letter A is at the top, and it's going to have a 0, and that's going to correspond with the fact that the key of A minor has no sharps. Okay, similar to everything else will be the same. So again, quick review: C major, no sharps. Its relative minor is A minor, also with no sharps. Okay, so to find the name and the number of sharps for a minor key signature, or a sharp minor key signature, move in a clockwise direction. Again, for sharps, clockwise around the circle, match the key or letter name with the number of sharps it has in the key signature. And when you cross the line and you add the sharp to the name of the key signature, that's what you're, again, so we cross that line between B and F, we're going to add a sharp to differentiate again between flat keys with minor keys that have flats in the key signature compared to minor keys with sharps in the key signature. So once we've done that, we can see, okay, well, E minor is going to have 1 sharp, B minor is going to have 2 sharps, cross the line, F sharp minor, 3 sharps, C sharp minor 4 sharps, G sharp minor 5 sharps, etc. The thing with these circles is that they actually correspond. So again, because the numbers, if you line up the numbers, the letters actually will give you the relativity between each of the keys. So key of E minor with 1 sharp, it's related to the key of G major with 1 sharp as well. Similarly, the key of A major with 3 sharps, its relative minor is F sharp minor with 3 sharps as well. Okay, so we're going to look at that in just a moment. Flat keys, same as major, we're going to move in a counterclockwise direction. Okay, so as we start at A at the top again, A is common to both keys with sharps or flats as it was for major, it is for minor, in that the 0 corresponds with the top. So as we move our way counterclockwise, key of A minor, no sharps or flats, key of D minor has 1 flat, key of G minor, 2 flats. Keep moving our way between B and F, we have to put our line, differentiating between keys that now are going to have an accidental. So this way, when we do the it's important that we're doing this because we don't want to be mixing up, for example, the key of F. If we didn't have the sharp here, you know, and you were using this to answer a question, oh, F minor, yeah, I'm going to use this circle, when in fact the key of F minor is 4 flats rather than 3 sharps. There's quite a big difference there, so it's important we're doing that. The other reason for the line is that it is the beginning and end of the order of sharps and or flats. So if we're doing order of sharps here, we're starting an F sharp. Father Charles goes down and ends battle. Okay, so that line you're starting and you're moving in the same direction, starting on F sharp. For flat keys, the order of flats, battle ends and down goes Charles' father. I know some of the letters have the sharp, some don't, but the order is what we're really looking for. We're starting, so with flats, we're also going to be going counterclockwise, just as we were when we're adding our flats, and we're starting with B flat. Okay, so for sharp keys, starting F sharp, go clockwise to get your order. Flat keys, B flat, go counterclockwise to get your order of flats. Okay, so we'll have a look at the next page. And so the next thing we're going to talk about concept is relative keys. So for every major tonality, there is a corresponding minor tonality. Whoops, sorry about that. This is called the relative minor. So relative keys share the same key signature and scale pitches. So to understand the relative relationship between the major and the minor keys, it is best to start with the piano keyboard with the C major scale. Again, we were very familiar with this from last year, our piano keyboard. Remember drawing that. Groups of 2, right? 2 black keys, and a set of 3 black keys separated by 2 white keys. Okay, so so C major, always to the left of any 2 black keys. Directly to the left of the first of the 2 black keys will always be the note C on the keyboard. So again, you can see 2 black keys directly to the left, C. Over here, same thing. So we just again, C major, all the white keys, no sharps or flats, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and we could continue, but we're just going to show the octave here. The numbers underneath here are corresponding to where the notes fall in the scale. So in C major, G is the 5th note, B is the 7th note, F is the 4th, etc. The tones and the semitones, review from grade 9, that's referring to the distance between the actual notes themselves. And remember with the keyboard, when we're showing distance between pitches, the keyboard works so well because we can see the tones and the semitones. So remember, moving by 2 semitones is equal to 1 tone, and a tone is a combination of 2 keys in any direction. So distance from C to D, we got to get from here to here, 1, 2. So that distance is a tone. Going from a D to an E, 1, 2, also a tone. Going from an E to F, 1, which is a semitone. Okay, so remember that from last year. So minor scales are going to do basically the same thing. We're going to use the key of A minor. That's the relative minor of C major, and we're going to show why that is. So A minor also uses all of the white keys that C major does, except we're starting on the 6th note, and we're going to continue from there. So when we do that, and the numbers again correspond, so D is the 4th note of A minor, E is the 5th, etc., you'll notice that the pattern of tones and semitones is shifted, and this is because of the fact that we're using the white keys, and we still have to travel these distances. So to get from A to B, 1, 2, that's a tone. Get from B to a C, 1, that's going to be a semitone. It's actually, they're all the same distances here, tones and semitones. The pattern's obviously altered because we're starting on A instead of C. So it's not going to be the tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. It's going to be tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone because of that fact. Okay? So finding relative keys. There are 2 directions to find relative keys, from the major to minor or from the minor to the major. And the process is easy if we follow these steps. So to find the minor from the major key. So in this question, step 1, we're asked to find the relative minor for the key of A major. So A major is the key that we're going to be, what is the relative minor for A major? So locate the tonic note of A major and write out the scale using the circle of fifths. So this is a grade 9 question, right? So tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Okay? So the simplest way to do this is, and I know in your guide it actually is saying, so descending a semitone, 1 letter name, followed by a tone, a 2nd letter name. And this is just like playing down the scale to the 6th degree, which is also true. So any major scale, such as A major, if we find the 6th note, that is the relative minor. Okay, so all major scales, the 6th note of any major scale will be the relative minor of that scale. But rather than counting up to the 6th, we can actually just descend, going from major to minor. If we move to the left by 3, and I like to think of this and refer to this, so it's 3 semitones down and 2 letter names away. That's very important. So 3 semitones below an A. A, G sharp, G, and this, yes, could be G flat, but we're going to call it F sharp, and this is where the two letter names come into play. So you remember from grade 9 we had enharmonics, and that referred to notes that sound the same, but they're actually written differently. So F sharp does sound the same as a G flat. We can't use G flat, though, for two reasons. The first one is that if we put this as G flat, as the relative minor of A major, what we're actually doing is we're mixing up accidentals. We're going to be, one is going to have flats, one is going to have sharps. We're not going to do that. We don't want to confuse ourselves. So it is going to be F sharp minor. That way we're using the same accidentals, and we're also two letter names away. So 1, 2, 3 semitones, F, G, A, or A, G, F. That's two letter names away. So the correct answer for this question is F sharp minor. Once we have that information, we're basically, again, going to be using the exact same notes as we did here, except we're starting on F sharp, and we're just going to follow our new pattern, tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone. And that's going to result in the minor scale. Once we've done that, now we can just draw the minor scale, similar to how we would have drawn a major scale. So our 3 sharps in our key signature with our treble clef here, starting on an F sharp, up to an F sharp, back down to an F sharp. It's going to be good practice in grade 10 this year with our scales, and that we're doing ascending pattern and descending pattern, because they actually, in some cases, variations of the minor scale, we do need to show there are different notes that are used, for example, in the melodic minor, ascending versus on a descending pattern. So we want to make sure we're showing that. And another example of how to go from finding the major from the minor, it's the reverse. So G sharp minor is, again, it's going to have 5 sharps, relative minor of B major. And so go ahead and write our using our tone semitone pattern, we're going to get the notes down for G sharp minor. So it's similar as fashion. So if we're starting on the first note of any minor scale, rather than going down 3, we're actually going to go up 3. So up 3 semitones and 2 letter names, and that's going to give us the relative major. So 1, 2, 3, and it's going to be B, and it's not going to be C flat or A double sharp, because we need the 2 letter names apart. So B major and G sharp minor both have 5 sharps. That's what we're looking for in that question. Okay, and then again, same thing. We'll draw our key signature here, and then we just write out all of the notes. So we're using, again, the piano keyboard here is a visual tool to illustrate the relationship that's taking place between the major and the minor scales. So now we got a couple practice questions that we're going to do. So in this first question, we're asked to write the following key signatures. You'll notice that there are no clefs here. We've left that up to you, but it's strongly recommended, and I'll do one in the treble, we'll do one in the bass as well. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my treble clef here, and my bass clef, and so when we're doing this question, so let's do C minor as an example. So we'll go back to our minor circle of fifths for just a moment, and we're looking for C minor. So we're looking here, and if we notice, do we have a C on its own? We have a C sharp. So that's the only C we're seeing on its own. So we're going to go down here, C minor. There it is, C minor. So C minor is actually going to be a key signature that's using flats, and we need 3 flats. What are those 3 flats? It's the same order of flats as it was for major key signatures, battle, ends, and. So we don't just need 3 flats, we just need those 3. So we're going to go back here. We're going to draw those 3 flats in. And that's it. And we'll separate that question from the next, but that's the minor key signature, or C minor as its key signature. I'm going to jump over here. We'll do E minor in the bass clef. So again, back to your circle of fifths for minor keys. We're looking for E, and there it is right there. E minor, and it's sharp keys. It has 1 sharp. What's that sharp we need? Same as major key signatures. Order of sharps always the same. You must always start with an F sharp. So F sharp is the sharp that we need. And so for E minor, I'll just draw my double bar there. So bass clef in this case, so we're down here. And 1 sharp for E minor, and it's an F sharp. Okay? Make that a little clearer there. Question number 2. So again, the rest of those questions, that's all we're doing. We're just copying down key signatures just like we did in grade 9, except we're minor this time. So we're writing out the following scales using a key signature and quarter notes. So sure, we'll do the first one, F sharp minor. We'll do this in the treble clef. So we'll go back again to our circle of fifths, F sharp minor. I know I'm using sharps because it's telling me that, so there it is, F sharp minor. I need 3 sharps. Father, Charles, goes. Remember, when you're picking off the accidentals, you need your moving in the clockwise direction. So Father Charles goes. So I draw my 3 sharps back into the treble clef here. Charles and goes. And now I'm just simply going to draw the scale. And it's good practice to keep a nice even distance between your notes as you go. And the question's asking us for quarter notes, so we'll draw it in quarter notes. A little tedious, but it's a good chance to practice our stem direction. Okay, I won't go descending in this case, but yeah, double bar is always good practice at the end. So there we go. There's F sharp minor in quarter notes. Okay, so there's a couple more to practice there. Again, encourage you to use a bass clef, maybe an alto clef, another treble clef of your choice, but mix your clefs up and try different ones. The next question is writing the following minor scales using accidentals and quarter notes. So this time we're not going to be using key signatures, so that's an important distinction between what we just did here. So let's picture we'll do A flat minor, everybody's favorite minor key. So I'm going to draw my bass clef for this question. So the key of A flat minor, again, refer back to my circle of fifths for minor keys. Flat, so no, A flat minor, I'm not going to find it up here, so I'm going to go down here, A flat minor, A flat minor, there it is in brackets. And remember, when it's in brackets, it's referring, this number 7 actually refers to that. So A flat minor has 7 flats, exactly like C flat major, so it's the relative minor of C flat major. So again, this question's asking to use accidentals and not to use a key signature, so and also quarter notes. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw. So we have my A flat, and again, everything is going to be flat in this question. So there's our B flat, there's our C flat, there's our D flat. I apologize, my pencil's a bit low here. I'm going to sharpen it. And our A flat. Okay, so there is A flat minor in quarter notes with accidentals rather than using a key signature. And then down here we've got some questions. Name the relative major key. So D sharp minor. This is where you're going to have to remember back to what we had in grade 9. So so let's pick D minor. Use that as an example. Okay, so the key of D minor, it's a flat key. It's got 1 flat. And what's the relative major with 1 flat? It's F major. Okay, so the answer for this question, F major. Now you'll notice that this year we're actually using lowercase letters and negative signs to refer to minor keys, and you'll notice capital letters with plus signs for major. It'll just help us make the distinction a little clearer. Later on we realize we can learn that we don't actually need to do that, but for now it's just good practice, just so when you're answering questions you're differentiating between those two. Okay, B flat minor. Right, so we got a couple other ones here. There's our A flat minor, so you can, again, we go back in the video and you can get the answer to that question. And then naming the relative minor key. So this time we're going in the opposite direction. So I just did that when using the circle of fifths, but I can show you the way to do it using your piano keyboards if you want to have a different way of looking at it. So let's pick E major. What's the relative minor? So this keyboard isn't labeled, but we can still do the question this way. So let's pretend, right, we're E major, we're going to go, so we want to find a minor from a major, which means we're going to the left. And it's always 3 semitones, 2 letter names. So 1, 2, 3. This key, we know, could be a C sharp, it could also be a D flat, it could also be a B double sharp. But we're not going to worry about double sharps or double flats for any of these questions. So 1, 2, 3, well, is it D flat or is it C sharp? Well, I know that E major is using sharps. And not only that, but the distance from letter names E to a D is just 1. I need 2 letter names, so it's actually going to be C sharp. So E major using sharp, C sharp also using sharp. So for this question, the relative minor of E major is going to be C sharp minor. Okay, so that's another way that you can use your piano keyboard to answer these questions, or you can use your circle of fifths. Practice doing these. With more practice, obviously, you'll develop a keener awareness and a recognition and the association between these. So there we go. That concludes lesson 3A. So submit your guide work again into the drop boxes. You can do it through MuseScore flat, or you can do it like I'm doing, pencil paper. You can take a photo, for example, if you're doing it this way. You can import this into Notability, and you can edit your documents that way. and submit. If you are doing a MuScore or a flat importation or completing the work through those softwares, please make sure that you're exporting the work as a PDF so that I can notate and edit it within the hub. Because if you're submitting like a .musx, for example, for MuScore, I won't be able to offer feedback if there's things to correct other than through the comment box, and that gets a little bit tedious. So that concludes the lesson, and thanks for watching, and we'll get 3B will be our next lesson.